Hello and welcome everyone. I am your host Stefan Burns, geologist, geophysicist, space weather guy, your cosmic bro. We have a comet right now flying in for its closest approach to the sun. And this is not some tiny comet or just a little bit of debris from a cometary debris stream. It is a big comet on a 170,000 plus year long journey to the sun. Probably hasn't done too many of these before. We're not sure if it will do one again. This is a very special moment because this comet is visible to the naked eye. Not every comet gets there. Some of them do, some of them don't. C2025 R3 PANSTARRS is visible to the naked eye early morning, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. before the sun rises. You can go out, look to the east where the sun will rise, just higher up, and you very well may see it. You'll definitely see it in binoculars. Tons of reports are coming in across the world of people being able to see it with their eyes, binoculars, and of course we've had some amazing photos taken of it via telescope. Here we can see one taken just today, the 16th of April, by the Kuroshiki Science Center in Japan. So incredible ion tail, plasma tail coming off of C2025 R3 PANSTARRS. And most astronomers will look at this just as an incredible comet, the best comet that we've had of the year thus far, the brightest of the year, maybe the great comet of 2026. It is visible to naked eye like Shuchen-Shan was back in 2024. That was a great comet of 2024. We're soon going to have this fly exactly in between the sun and the earth around the 25th, 26th of April, meaning it's going to really show up on our coronagraph. Could perhaps trigger some space weather solar activity. First, it has that perihelion, that closest approach on the 19th, the same day that we have a Mars-Saturn conjunction. That's a very powerful planetary conjunctional cycle that will begin and plays out over about 2.5 years. Of course, we have 420 on 420, this perihelion 419, tons of critical planetary geometry, as I've mentioned, just to quickly list them. Earth, Mercury, Mars, Saturn all aligned, Neptune just nearby, a little skewed off from that. We have Venus, Saturn, Neptune all in a line in the solar system. We have a Mercury, Sun, Jupiter alignment, and we also have a Earth, Venus, Uranus alignment simultaneously. So when I say that there is a interdimensional shift that's taking place, this is effectively what I mean. There is a certain energy and resonance framework, morphic field that is always in existence, but takes on unique characteristics, more so than, let's say, normal, when there's highly significant and sacred geometrical alignments in the sky with the planets. Now, mind you, the solar system, as far as we know, formed from the interstellar medium. So it's like the wellspring of creation of the cosmos, and somehow, due to physics, it condensed and it structured itself and differentiated itself into the sun, the planets, the moons, the satellites, asteroids, comets, meteorites, trans-Neptunian dwarf objects, and more. So we have this beautiful, intricate system that has effectively sprung up as a result of pure creative potential. It's clicking in just like a Swiss watch, expertly designed. It's clicking into a perfect harmonic alignment convergence on the 19th, as the same time that we have this very large coronal hole behind us on the sun. And it's very interesting, the kind of glyph you could say it's making here. You can interpret this 100 different ways, but we will be magnetically connected to the sun as this comet is at its perihelion. We will have Mars magnetically coupled to the sun as a result of a couple solar storms that launched that way on the 19th, as all this planetary geometry is active. And the last thing to kind of mention here just quickly is the fact that we have in this alignment the planets all share the same tilt angle. So Earth, 23.4 degrees. Mars, 25.2. Saturn, 26.7. Neptune, 28.3 degrees. All within 5 degrees. The other planets have all different, totally different tilt angles, like Mercury there, almost 0 degrees. But these are the ones, my sound bowls. We will be doing a sound bowl healing after the presentation. So they wanted me to let you know that. We have the sound bowls here for this is the third eye chakra, and we also have one for the crown chakra right here. We'll play these after the main report. Sorry if that noise was startling to you. I've only so much room on my desk here. But we have all these planets with these specific degrees in between 23.5 and 28.5 in a perfect alignment right around this time. So this comet is very, very interesting. We've really just scratched the surface on C2025 R3 PANSTARRS because we've been talking about the alignments and everything, but let's talk a little bit now about the mythology and more, because we have this comet appearing in the dawn. So there's various symbological things that we can interpret. It's appearing right now in the dawn. It's at its brightest effectively right now. People are recommending you go out tomorrow morning to see this. That's my plan, is to get up and be out there from 5 to 6 and hopefully get some images of this with my phone to see it, binoculars, my little telescope that I have. That's the plan. And it's in the constellation of Pegasus. And we've been having some very interesting interstellar energies unfold over the past few months. And so there's this progression, this journey that has effectively been happening that really speaks to the larger journey that we're all going through. Because as this comet comes in, they're traditionally known as, great heralds of change and omens. And so for thousands of years, we've recognized that comets have a powerful impact over us in more than just a physical, materialistic way. They retune our spiritual dimension through their unique interstellar resonance. That's the best understanding that I have. So this is going to be really exerting a profound shift over people's energy, their intellect, their consciousness for the next few days, weeks, months, and for the rest of the year as these energies propagate, reverberate out through all the different dimensional layers and substrates that make up our reality, right? Because there's not just one layer, there's multiple layers. You have the implicate, the super implicate orders, then you have the explicate order, which is where we live. There's way more below the surface than there is above in some aspects. So, but before we get more into that, let me show you just exactly how bright this comet has been getting. It's a very bright comet now. We can look at our brightness data provided by COBS, and we see the light curve right here. And this is going back since it was first picked up last year in fall, okay? So it was at 19th magnitude, but then it really started to brighten. It kind of bucked the trend, and now we're getting reports of it at just about magnitude 5, magnitude 4.8, 4.6. So that's very quite bright. That's right in that zone that starts to make it visible to the naked eye. And here we see the orbital arrangement of C2026 R3 maps. So we see that it's cutting through at this inclination right there. And it's not exactly vertical. It's also not cutting through the ecliptic plane the whole time like 3i Atlas did, which was very unique. This is a fairly quick flyby. Now we see here the orbit of Mercury in gray, Venus in red, Earth in blue, the three innermost planets. We have Mars there further back, okay? With 3i Atlas, it flew close to Mars, like very close to Mars. It got fairly close to Venus and Mercury because they're both just so close to the sun. Venus is on the right side as it did its flyby, its perihelion back October, November of 2025. It also flew very close to Jupiter. Earth was basically the one planet that was left out. We were like on the exact opposite side of the sun when it flew by. This comet is flying in really close to Earth. Now, it's not going to interact with us, like, hit us or anything like that. We may get sprayed a little bit by its dust tail as the solar wind takes some of that material and then pushes it past the Earth, but I don't think that effect is going to be really all that significant and something to worry about. I don't think it's something to worry about, but we will see it get very close to Earth, because here, if we go forward, there's this perihelion slightly above the ecliptic plane when it's at its absolute closest. But if I go forward here to the 25th, we see it's really starting to get close to a perfect alignment. And then if we go to the 26th, we have this beautiful alignment between Earth, PANSTARRS, and the Sun, with PANSTARRS just slightly below the ecliptic plane. But that time frame of the 25th to 27th of April is when it's really going to put on a show as it relates to us imaging the sun with our coronagraphs, and this comet's going to fly through like crazy, and then maybe we see some interaction with that debris via the solar wind sweeping by us around the very end of April. But we see this alignment here occurring. Here's Earth, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, a little bit of a bow alignment. It's less of a bow earlier on. If you go to the 19th, here we see it's a pretty nice line. If we see the 20th, that's when it really clicks in. So again, perihelion 19th, this is perfect alignment 20th. So Mars being activated by the solar storm, it just looks like a perfect setup for some pretty profound shifts to occur. And there was a comment that someone posted on my last video saying, come back in 2 weeks and don't be surprised if nothing happens. And it's like, yeah, that very well could be the case. Maybe nothing happens in a significant way externally. The change could happen completely within. So everyone has their own life experience in all the multitude of ways, and all these internal changes and experiences that we're having can then manifest at the collective scale in terms of how we interact with each other, what directions we take with our lives, how we treat the planet, other life on the planet, things of this nature, how we interact with the cosmos. You don't necessarily need some big dramatic event to occur, though that often does happen because I think Earth's a little dramatic. I think all the planets can agree on that. She likes to throw it around sometimes, and that does often catalyze the change. So both of these things are going to happen. It may be a significant event at your community level. It may be a larger event at, let's say, a national or global level. There could be multiple. We could be talking about earthquakes. We could a whole bunch of things. We have a G2 geomagnetic storm expected as a result of this high-speed stream impact from this coronal hole right here, coming in just 24, 36 hours. So that right there is going to be magnetic fluctuations and more. We have all that coming in as well. But this also could be completely internal change. But the ancients have known for thousands of years, because they were watching the skies religiously. That was the best entertainment you could have, that when these comets come in, significant events unfold. This could also be like climatic shifts, weather things. Like, spring is a season, or fall, depending on where you live, where the weather is really a bit more erratic. They've been having crazy hail in parts of the United States, like softball-sized hail and tornadoes, and there was a water spout off the Puget Sound in Washington. So things like this as well. You just have to look for where you see sudden changes that get catalyzed into action. That's where I would probably then start to think maybe this comet is interacting at this level of reality. But it could be, again, completely internal. It's really hard to say. But let us look at our software program, Stellarium, to learn a little bit more about kind of the story I think PANSTARRS is telling us, because it really is very interesting. So let me move this over for you guys. And here we see it's dark. So I will turn on the constellations. There they are. And I'm going to type in PANSTARRS here to get to pop up. Right now it's below. So let's go forward in time. I'm going to pause that first. And I'm going to go to our time window here. Let's go forward in time to this morning. And this is 5:30 in the morning right here. If you go back to 5, it's just coming over the horizon, okay? So if you want to see this, get out at 5, but you're really not going to see it probably till 5:30 and going to 6. It'll be probably at its brightest right around here. And then as you get to 6 and the light from the sun starts to creep in, it will diminish in brightness. I mean, it's actually not diminishing in brightness, but it's apparent, you know, it won't show up as well, apparently. But here's the interesting thing. So let's actually just go forward a full hour. We see that right now, the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, the fishes. And if we turn off our atmosphere, we will see this grouping we have of Mars, Mercury, and Saturn. Here's the sun. Where's PANSTARRS again? It's showing up there. There's the sun. It's a new moon as well. So we have this new moon occurring at the same time. And if we look to where PANSTARRS is, it's in the constellation of Pegasus. Pegasus is surrounded by the constellation of Aquarius, here the water bearer, and Pisces, at least the two zodiac along the ecliptic plane. So there's a lot of themes of water right now. Now Aquarius is an air sign, or you know, it's an air element, whether it's a sign or constellation, but it's known as the water bearer. So it's pouring out this water. And here we have this planetary grouping in Pisces. This is that alignment I'm talking about right there. See that? Mars, Mercury, Saturn, right? They're all closely clustered together. We have PANSTARRS up in Pegasus. Now, if we go a little further up, you'll notice nearby we have the Swan constellation, or Cygnus, and we've been receiving these giant radio flares from Cygnus. So we see this progression of energy. If we go back to 5 a.m. and turn on our atmosphere, where is that? And our ground, we have a ground, yeah, okay. So we turn that back on and we see, here it is, we see Pegasus there. Right now we have Pegasus effectively rising before sunrise. So it's not on the zodiacal plane, but if you were out in the morning, that's the big constellation that you would be seeing. Imagine 5,000 years ago, this is what they would be seeing. Now you have a comet appear in that constellation. That's pretty important, right? This is definitely something to take note of. And you have all the planets grouped closely to it. This is a rising energy. It's coming into being, into fruition. If we go back to April and even February here, let's even go back to like January, we see that we had the Swan constellation rising before sunrise there. See that? Now it's sunrise, but you see it's over the horizon. Of course, you don't see it during the day. But we had the Swan constellation. Well, we've been having these giant radio flares from Cygnus X3 in the Swan constellation, both in January. There we go. Both in January and also in this month, April. So if we go forward, we see that this principle, these energies that we've been receiving from Cygnus X3 being guided by Jupiter and the twins Castor and Pollux in the constellation of Gemini, they're all there together right now. The sun and all the planets are racing towards Jupiter, Venus leading the charge. I'll show that in just a second. We've been receiving this signal from the Swan constellation, or Cygnus. Now as we go forward, we have a new messenger that has arrived, and it's Comet C2025 R3 PANSTARRS coming in from deep interstellar space on a 170,000 year orbital period. So it's been 170,000 years approximately since it was last in the solar system. And then if we go forward, we see that now Pegasus is rising. Pegasus being the trusty flying steed, horse of Hercules. And Hercules is the son of Zeus, the hero, right? Hercules is such a great god and so venerated across Greek and Roman culture because he was half mortal, half immortal, and obviously had lots of natural talents and gifts, being very strong and almost like a giant, but he also worked tremendously hard to accomplish what he did. and went through an amazing transformative life journey and slayed many beasts that he didn't necessarily have to go out of his way to do so, but he did. So there's this this hero's journey archetype with Hercules, and that's something that right now we're all being encouraged to do. Like, how can you be a hero for yourself, for your friends, family, maybe for your pets, for your community, for the world at large? How can you inspire others to cultivate imagination and breakthroughs and paradigm shifts and more? Well, we have Pegasus, the trusty steed of Hercules, rising in the sky, being blessed with a comet as we go forward into 2026. And if we go forward here, I'll turn off the atmosphere once more. Should be right here. We see that Venus is leading the charge. So we really have a very powerful female archetype right now. Venus is not in this cluster up of planets. She is ahead of the sun, meaning that every evening you see Venus in the night sky. We can go forward to that right about here. I mean, right now, as I film this, Venus and Jupiter are shining bright out in the night sky. It's kind of freaking out a little bit. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so we'll get this atmosphere back on. Let's go forward here. The sun sets, and there you have Venus and Jupiter. So Venus is racing to catch up to Jupiter's benefic agent, and we see this threaded connection because of Cygnus X3. Eventually, all the planets will catch up, but we will have this Jupiter-Venus alignment right here in the constellation of Gemini. It's a very powerful one. So it's like Venus finally receives the blessing of Jupiter, and then there is this transformative solar cazimi that occurs. Because if you go here, we will see that the Sun and Jupiter will converge together. So this is going to be later. See that? It's going to be later in July, but we will get that Jupiter cazimi right there, now clearly in the constellation of Cancer. No longer in Gemini. On the very end of July, this looks like July 29th, July 30th. So there's this whole sequence playing out right now. And I think the twins are really speaking to our expression, our duality. We have light and dark within us, and which one do we choose? Do we integrate them both? Like, how do we balance these two duplicitous sides to us? Better and for worse. There's like great things, you know, just if you're clever, you can be clever and a liar, or you can be clever and a good person, right? Some of these things associated with Mercury and Gemini and all this are good, you know, intellect and more. So there's tremendous opportunity right now. And that is, I think, the larger message of this comet coming in and these radio flares that we've been getting, the specific frequencies of those being about 1 to 30 gigahertz, perfectly absorbed by water. Your body's 70% water, just absorbs that right in. You can put your water out to charge. So I think this giant radio flares are probably over from Cygnus X3. But this is just the progression of energies that we're going through going forward. And it's being really driven as of right now by this planetary geometry and also by this comet C2025 R3 PANSTARRS. And I think it's really doing it in an incredible way. And I'm really excited to see what the next few months hold. I recognize that there could be some unfortunate events that unfold, but I think actually there's going to be this quick turnaround, not of normalcy, just like the old system, but there's going to be this change and this shift where the things that need to go will go. New power and order system, like structures and systems that are more beneficial for everyone and just less nutso, will form, like crystallize into action. And then there's going to be this like the surge that goes forward that takes us to a whole new destination effectively. And I think more and more people are going to be connecting into these interdimensional energies. If you on 420, however you want to do it, I would highly recommend you find some way to celebrate and to dip into this energy. The classic way, of course, is to use some Travka, some ganja, but there's a whole bunch of ways you can tap into the energy of 420, and with all this happening, I think it's a really beautiful time period to do so, and I would recommend that. So on that note, let's just learn one more thing here about PANSTARRS, which is really interesting, and that is the fact that it has even been imaged to have this sunward facing tail. So this is a characteristic that we saw with 3i Atlas, and we haven't really seen too many of these before with comets, so it's not impossible. But we did get this image here on the 15th thanks to Gerald Redmond and Michael Yeager. The two images I've shown you are linked in the video description, by the way, and we do see a faint sunward facing tail there. So it looks like it's actually an anti-velocity tail. It's hard to say. But this is just showing that there's a little bit more complexity to this comet than some of the comets that fly into our solar system. I mean, beautiful ribbons of plasma going out from behind the nucleus of this comet, and I think we're really in for an incredible show. I mean, it's already happening right now, but I really recommend you go out tomorrow morning, anytime before, really tomorrow morning or even the 18th, but tomorrow morning is the best because it won't be too close to the sun. And get that on image, but we're going to see some incredible views with our coronagraph around the 24th through 27th of April, probably around the 24th, 26th of April. So get ready for that. It's going to be really quite wild. The last thing to show you, the final keystone that really illustrates the significance and synchronicity of this, all right? Because you can maybe watch the whole thing, like, okay, he talked about constellations and stars and Hercules riding a horse, like who cares, okay? Well, there are certain natural cosmic rhythms that exist, okay? One of the most foundational for our planet is our perihelion-aphelion rhythm, because we have a point in our orbit where we are closest to the sun. This is the distance, 147,300,000 kilometers, and then we have a point in time every year where we're at our farthest away from the sun, or aphelion. That's July 4th. So it's 152,100,000 kilometers. So our orbit's not even. As a result, when we're at perihelion, we are experiencing stronger gravitational forces from the sun, more light radiation from the sun. These are physical attributes that we can measure that are increased. And then during aphelion, we're the furthest away from the sun. The sun's gravitational field is slightly weaker. We're getting slightly less radiation because of the inverse square law of spreading that radiation out. So we go through this every year, and it's not like it's the craziest thing. You know, it's not driving our seasons in a spectacular way, but we do see this effect. Here's where things really get interesting. Let me turn myself off here. Well, I guess I'm going to shift over to the other side. Here we can see the sun's motion. It's moving through like this, right? And we see Earth is going around and spiraling around like this. Well, we can take this perihelion-aphelion journey and basically turn it into a wave function. So we see this right there. Here's the centroid of the sun, and when we're furthest away, that's our aphelion. When we're closest, that's our perihelion. And so we go from far to close to far to close, etc. If you take the golden ratio for in between these two dates, which is 0.625 or so, that mathematical ratio of perfection and symmetry and beauty, which is represented all across the universe. We see the golden ratio in cyclones. We see the golden ratio in Romanesca cauliflower and broccoli. We see the golden ratio in snail shells, and we see the golden ratio in the solar wind being emitted by the sun, and in the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy. It's one of the blueprints of our reality. This comet comes in for its perihelion on the 19th. It has its Sun-Comet-Earth alignment right on the 26th of April. The golden ratio date for the perihelion-aphelion wave function is April 23rd. So exactly in between those two significant dates for comet C2025 R3 PANSTARRS, its perihelion the 19th, and its Sun Sun-Comet-Earth alignment, the 26th, the 23rd is that golden ratio. So it's flying in perfectly synchronistically to basically touch that musical chord, which is one of our foundational cosmic resonances for our planet. Our heartbeat with the sun in and out on a yearly time frame is coming in and plucking that harp string. And at the same time, it has not only gravity with its nucleus, but it has a tail, the ion tail. So there's all these interesting plasma electromagnetic interactions that may or may not occur. They will occur to some degree. The question is the significance, but that really shows you that there is a celestial design to this. The creator does not make mistakes. And so I really think that's a very, very key point. And the strongest point of evidence that this flyby of this comet is of significance to each and every single one of us on this planet. And so wanted to share that all with you. I'm really excited to go see it myself, and I hope you all see it as well if you have not done so already. I'll keep you up to date with all this stuff, of course, on my channel: earthquakes, solar activity, space weather, cosmic comets, and more. So if you like the sound of that, then please subscribe. Click that thumbs up button, really helps. One person is asking, how is my dad? My dad had heart surgery when I was visiting just recently, and they put in some stents, and he's fine, feeling much better now than he was about a week ago. He has a valve replacement coming up at the end of this month. So that's the big operation, and we hope everything goes well, and it should. So thanks for asking about that. He really, if he was to share a message with you guys right now, the message that he would share is that he wants to have some work done. He likes to work on the website and the store, the business that we have. So if you go to earthevolution.com/store, we have all these products that we make. We have our spirituality, our herb coffee, tranquility, fruit tea, electricity, festivity, vitality, all these made and mixed in-house, all organic ingredients. Festivity has some non-organic ingredients. I can talk about that more later. Just read the product page. It's fantastic stuff. But the spirituality here is really what you should have on hand for these sort of time periods, because it's not like these things never happen. They just always have their own unique characteristics. So this planetary geometry, comet flyby, solar wind stream interaction, all that, if you had this on hand, and we'll ship it out quick, but if you have this on hand, you can tap into these energies better. When we're doing these meditations, you can just relax a little deeper. And this is 4 very simple ingredients, super high quality. It's mugwort, chamomile, passion flower, and purple lotus flowers. So this is available to everyone in the United States. I would highly recommend you pick some up. The herb coffee too is fantastic. Speaking to that spirit of inspiration and forward momentum on what are you going to rise up and achieve, this is the coffee blend that you could be drinking and help you with that. It's really, really good. But check them all out. We also have 5 packs of crystals here. Super optical clarity, really, really awesome. These are a great way to just get started. And there's even a new product here, the spiritual starter pack, which gives you a stick of sage, a crystal, and a spirituality for all under $50. So you save some money doing this, getting the crystal, the spirituality, and the smudge stick all at once. So check these things out. That's what he wants you to know. He's happy to help everyone out. This is his way of giving back to everybody in the community, is through helping me run the store and more. So big shout out to my father, Lee Burns, for that. So thank you for asking. Appreciate that. And now we will get started with our cosmic connection meditation. If you wish, you can open yourself up to receive these energies from interstellar space, from the cosmos, direct from Creator, Source, God. Align yourself to your highest potential. I invite you to hum with the sound to create your own resonance. And with so much energy coming in, what will you manifest? Envision it in your third eye. As above, so below, with the heavens changing, what is also changing within? Under our feet, within the body. Well, thank you all so much, everybody, for joining me today with this presentation on Comet C 2025 R3 PANSTARRS, and for joining in on collecting this, creating this collective resonance with the sound healing to connect to these wonderful, beautiful energies that the universe is sending our way. Things could just stay very quiet and boring if the universe wanted that to be the case, and maybe that wouldn't be so bad. But we are in a period of profound change, what some people call the fourth turning, and this is not something to take lightly. Just one interesting data point to leave you with is we had the collapse of the Bronze Age roughly in 1500 BC. We had the collapse of Rome around 500 AD. And right now in 2026, we're seeing a lot of change. And so there's a wave frequency that exists here. And I think actually the Bronze Age collapse is more around 1000 BC. So you see how there's these cycles and rhythms to history of 1500, 2000 years in length that are natural. And you go from the Iron Age to the Bronze Age, or you go from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age to the Modern Age, right? These huge transformative leaps up. That's what we're right now in the midst of. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's good to be aware. It's good to be prepared, and to trust in yourself. That is the best that you can do. So yes, thank you all. Yeah, so here are the specific dates. 1000 BC, 580, 2026, 1500 year wavelength to that. So these energies, these wavelengths, these frequencies, these timelines are all internested together, and they're all expressing themselves simultaneously in a way never seen before. So with that, wishing all of you well. Thank you all so much. God bless. Namaste. Peace be with you, and I'll see you all in the next video. I really hope you have a great day and a great night. Thanks so much.